Good morning. Well, I got the Radio Shack Pro 2039. It's a model 2039 scanner back on the bench today. And off camera, I cleaned up the glue that was around some of the components in there. It didn't make a bit of difference. This thing is dead. Now, a couple of my viewers kept saying, put an external speaker on here. That's not the problem. If you've been watching and listening to my videos, there is nothing wrong with the speaker. Let me go plug it in. Nothing wrong with that speaker. The problem is not the speaker. Now, maybe, I had the volume down low like this because, so, I don't have to shout. But there's not an issue with the speaker whatsoever. You're getting the hiss in there, as you can plainly hear. Okay? Nothing wrong with that speaker. So the problem is not the speaker. It's not the power supply, obviously, because you're getting the display, you're getting the audio. The audio amplifier is working. It's the front end and the tuning is not working, and also nothing stays in here. Now, I can't find a manual on this at all. It does not exist. I checked over and over on the internet. There is no manual for Radio Shack Pro 2039. There is one for the Pro 2037, which is a different scanner altogether. I'm not going to worry about this. I just want to give you a final look on this, and I'm going to get you on macro, and hopefully it'll be in focus. There seems to be a range on this Kodak Play Touch here where even though I'm on macro, it's still out of focus. It's very hard to tell when you're looking in the viewfinder on this camera. You think it looks good, but when you play it back on the computer, it's so out of focus you can't even make out what you're looking at. Once again, I made some tests using the HT on 2 meters, 146.52 simplex, programmed 146.52 frequency in here, nothing, not a chirp out of it. Plugged in the frequency 162.55, which is the weather, 162.40, which is another weather channel, nothing. Nothing whatsoever. All you get is this. I'll turn it off right now. Another thing, it won't program. Now, I have been told it's a supercapacitor. Well, without a schematic, you can't tell. And another issue, too, is there is no transistors in here. There's 2 ICs. And they look like they're plug-ins, but I can't work with that small stuff, and I don't bother with solid state. I have no luck on it. Absolutely no luck whatsoever. So other than a obvious break in the board that I happen to spot or something like that, a poor solder connection or whatever, I can usually deal with that if I spot it. I did not take this board out. I'm not going to. I don't know what I'm looking for anyways, but I want to get you some close-ups here, and I'm going to do them handheld, which I don't like doing, but I'm going to be very careful. If you notice, I'm holding the camera right now, but I'm holding it very steady. So let me get you a close-up here, and I'll be right back. I want to show you what I did here. Okay. Radio is turned off. All around here, there was all that glue. I scraped it off, and one of my viewers said you can just scrape it off, it comes off, and it did, very easily. After that, I cleaned it with 91% isopropyl alcohol. That's as high as you can get. I can't find 99, so 91 is what I can get, and that's what I use all the time. And cleaned everything up. There was a lot around here. And these 2 capacitors were laying down a little bit, almost down to the board, and there was all that glue in there. I cleaned all that up and cleaned that around there. There was also a lot of glue in here, and I cleaned it up. And on this chip here, I was working with this after I scraped it with my screwdriver very gently, with this little tiny Exolite screwdriver here. I cleaned up all the stuff with the radio turned off, and then I cleaned it out with alcohol, and then I turned the radio on and cleaned it around here, and you can hear when I put the Q-tip in here with the alcohol on it, it cut down the hiss. Didn't pick any stations up, so it's a sensitive area in here. I paid particular attention into here, and there is no more glue in here. I don't know what this is, but I cleaned it up. Could be a fuse, it could be anything, but whatever. There's 1, 2, I thought there was 3, 2 crystals. No idea what they are. You know, without a schematic, it's impossible to service this unless you're experienced and you're working with this stuff all the time. Other than looking for something obvious, a break or, a short somewhere or whatever, it's impossible to trace this stuff out. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Now, you look around here, you got some electrolytics, and I went all over here. There's no way I can do an ESR test on these for 2 reasons. One, I'm not pulling this board out. It's too damn difficult. It's too hard to get out. You got to mess with the display and everything else. I'm not doing it. Second of all, these electrolytics are so tiny, the leads are so close together that I wouldn't be able to get my probes on there with my blue ESR meter to test it anyways. I checked every one of these by moving them around when the unit's on, like this. Nothing. And checked very carefully using my little microscope eyepiece there, the lighted one, and checked and made sure nothing is exploded. In other words, seeping or anything. And if it was, this is the power supply here, you wouldn't be getting that powerful hiss. Turn it back on. Turn this down again. Remember, the speaker is good, so it's pointless to put an external speaker on. That's not the problem. Okay. When I plug in 162.55, or in this case on the 2-meter simplex 146.52, when I plug it in, it stays in there until I turn off the scanner. Now, I can't find a book on this, as I said, so there is no way. I might not be doing it right. I don't know. I don't think this is the scanner I had. I know the one I had was also a Radio Shack, was a little longer than this, and had a big dial over here. It lost all its memory too, and it's buried in the back in the shed somewhere. I think this one I got at a yard sale, not working, so this was not mine. I'm almost certain of that. This one I bought dirt cheap at a yard sale 15 years ago, I guess. Anyways, I'm gonna let you listen to this hiss to prove to you once again that it's not the speaker. Okay. Manual. 1, 6, 2, dot 550, enter. 162.55. Now that should be coming in. The antenna's on it. Touching this stud here doesn't make any difference either. So it's all one common point, as I showed before. Nothing. All right, that's on channel 1. I'll turn it off. Turn it back on. Channel 1 is now back down to 0. Okay. So this scanner does not have a battery. I was told to look on the back. There is no battery. It's a model PRO-2039. 2039. You cannot get a manual on this. It's just one of these oddballs ones, I guess. And it's, old, so, it has some good specs on it. It goes up to 900 some megacycles. So it's not anything to sneeze at. It covers from, I think, 30 megacycles on up. So it has good coverage. It covers supposedly, I can get the specs on this, but I can't get a manual, user's manual, let alone a schematic. But I can get the specs on this, and the coverage it does. So I just wanted to make this video, and I think I'm done with this. I was thinking of making a giveaway video on this, but nobody wants these things, and it'll cost me a little to send it out. It's not, it's not a heavy thing, but, if any of my regular viewers are interested in it, let me know. I may send it out, but it won't be right away, because I've got the Alinco. I sent it out to Buddy, the radio shop in North Carolina, and he seems to think that the battery corrosion, possibility the gases might have damaged something in the radio. He seems to agree that it's in the radio from what I've been describing. The radio battery pack doesn't drop down that much on the load when I put the load resistors on, and it doesn't seem to receive either. And on receive, it would only take a few milliamps. On transmit, of course, it would take a lot more. So there is an issue with the contacts on the battery pack, but there is also an issue with the radio itself. So that being said, I want to see what it's going to cost me to get that radio back and going again. So there isn't much call for a scanner radio. So I'm going to end this video on this, and the reason I'm videotaping now on the chassis is so you can see what I've done here. There was also a lot, I got this thing turned off, yep. There was a lot of the glue around here, as well as here, as I said. A lot around here. This is solder now that's here. I took my lighted microscope and looked, that's just solder around this shield. I cleaned everything off after I scraped it with the Q-tip and alcohol, pretty much all over the board here. Check these connections. Rechecked in here, everything's fine. And even with this transceiver on simplex 146.52, with the scanner set at the same frequency, I could go right up on top of it like that, and nothing would come through. Nothing. So it's not an issue. If there was a break in here, the frequency would still come through. Being this close, it would still come through. So the issue isn't here. It could be one of these cans here. No transistors that I can see, so there's only 2 chips in this thing. This chip here, I'm going to read. No, I can't read it. Let me read the number to you over here. It looks like a KA3361. KA3361. And a 424 underneath that. All right. I'll put you over here. Okay. The wires are right in the way here. The number underneath the TDA 1905, the number under that is W88A like in Alpha, C like in Charlie, 9440. Okay? Going back to the first chip again, which is right here, and of course you're probably seeing it upside down. I'm reading it upside down, but I read it to you before. KA3361 with a 424 under it. Okay, so as you can plainly see, there is only 2 chips in the whole shebang. I don't see any other transistors in here. Only 2 chips. I don't know what this is. No idea. And I have no idea what the crystals do. I don't know much about this stuff. I'm sorry. You know, I'm a tube guy, and I don't know a hell of a lot about that either. Okay, so that's it on this video. This is probably boring to a lot of you people that are not interested in the electronics. But I think I'm going to end this. I'm going to close this up. That's the end of this. So I'll leave it on the bench open for now. But I don't think I missed anything. You have to have you have to have excellent eyesight to work on this stuff. You have to have a great magnification system and a lot of knowledge. These things can't be fixed by the average Joe Doe. Not in my book. I never was any good at solid state, and people probably don't believe me, but I'm sorry. You know, if this was a vacuum tube thing, it would be bigger, it would be spread out more. And believe it or not, I might even be able to have a good chance of fixing it. It's not a big deal. Once again, the display went back to 0. It don't stay in there, and when it does a scan, it scans all the channels, all the banks. You got to set the squelch up to do that. But for some reason, bank number 2 is locked out. I have no idea. I can't get it to unlock. I think there's an issue with this scanner in more ways than one. Once again, it's a PRO-2039, probably made in the late 80s, early 90s. And here is the model number. Thanks for watching.